Hey, Mike here with the SUB30, the Sub 30 from Suzuki. And if you already know what I'm talking about, you can see mine doesn't look like a regular one. This is sort of a follow-up to the single reed video I did and some general comments on half valve bending. I see I'm blocking my screen a little bit on the bottom. Sorry for that. This harmonica is not stock. I got it right away from Suzuki before Spa, and I didn't like the covers. And I changed those for Manji covers because they were louder, and I liked the side vents and thought it made the harmonica sound better. And I had to use 256 bolts because of the way it lined up. So that's why physically it looks a little different. On the inside, I did do the Richard Slade suggested modification of taking off the valves and blocking off the sympathetic reeds on holes 1 through 3. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out Richard and Brendan's videos first and then come back and watch this one. So that it would play better and more like a traditional Richter harp on the bottom. And then I did tweak just a couple of the regular reeds, and then I did have to adjust all the sympathetic reeds so that they wouldn't rattle or cause any unwanted noise. So out of the box, I was not a huge fan of the harmonica. Taking it apart and working on it for a few minutes worked great. I have an A that I fully customized that is an amazing harmonica. And then I mangled the 8 draw reed. So that's why I'm not using that as an example. I'm going to have to replace the reed. And as a matter of fact, I have a couple more on order, of which I'll be keeping myself. I have all 3 keys, C, D, and A. The C out of the box played the best, and I tweaked it. It plays a lot better. The A was okay on holes 4 through 10, but needed some adjustment, and I went all out on that one, and it plays amazingly well now. I absolutely love it. And the D is a little bit of a train wreck. I would not play that in front of people right now, and I just don't want to take the time to take it apart and to work on those issues. Right now with the C as it is, having just changed some of the basic profiles, it plays great on holes 1 through 7. I'd say 8, 9, and 10 play really well depending on what you're playing there. It's still kind of breathy. I don't know if leaky would be a right adjective or not, but if you modify it further, it plays better as a Richter harmonica and still gives you some of the bends. The customs I've tried out from Brendan Power that he has of the Sub 30 are absolutely amazing. So you can go a long way if you tweak these, which kind of stinks because it's an expensive harmonica out of the box, and then you'd have to take time or send it to somebody like me to tweak it. But it is worth it because you get some awesome notes and can transpose some things that you otherwise would have a really hard time playing with either half valves or if you were a really good overblow, overdraw harmonica player. Because the patterns are a little different, you wouldn't be able to pull some of the stuff off. So example, here's a very traditional first position blues riff. Okay, now I can't play that in the middle of harmonica. If I have a Richter tune harp, I can kind of fudge that with an overblow, overdraw harp, but because the note layout different, that pattern surface is never going to sound the exact same. On this harmonica, I can play that riff almost identical in terms of my armature and everything. I get a similar timbre and feel and tone right from the middle of the harmonica. So I've just opened up all my first position riffs now on the high end of the harp to the middle of the harmonica, and because of the note layout, everything stays very consistent, and I don't have to do a lot of new learning or worry about making mistakes. I can take the middle of the harmonica in second position, like that 4 draw bend and those sorts of riffs, and now I can move that to the high end of the harmonica. And so now I've opened up a whole nother octave and style of playing. And then we should just take a couple seconds maybe to go through what I have for new notes. I can blow bend the 4. I can blow bend the 5. I can blow bend the 6. And you can hear it's very now I would argue strongly that there's pros and cons to any method of picking up new notes on diatonic harmonica, and when I say new notes or different notes, anything other than a blow and draw. So you have a give and take, whether it's a traditional draw bend, traditional blow bend, overblow, overdraw, half valved, bends with sympathetic reeds, whatever it is, there's going to be a give and take, and you just need to decide what give and take is the best for you, or the context in which to use these different options. I can then draw bend on 7 through 10. And I have all those notes available to me as if they were just regular draw bends. There's nothing fancy about that. That's not a real complicated technique or a huge learning curve to do, which is very empowering. I now have the flat third and second position because I can bend the 7 draw down. So I got all sorts of riffs there where I can throw in that 7 draw bend. So I can add vibrato to that. I could really well on that. It's really cool. Okay, so here's I'm bending the note for vibrato. Here I'm going to use a typical blues style, like stomach or gut vibrato. And I mean I can wail on this thing and I'm not going to have any issues. I don't have to be a real finesse player. Same on 8 draw, 9 draw, 10 draw. Now with the 8 I have that note again that's the same as the 4 draw bend or the 1 draw bend, which is like the coolest thing. I could take or leave the 7 draw half step bend for the 6 overblow. What's nice is if I use this instead as it stands, then the 6 becomes a different note and the 5 becomes a different note. So again, pros and cons. But here's the 8 draw again. So you can hear, I mean, I glissandoed right up into that, and it was just like... And the only extra noise you're going to hear is if I screw up and play something sloppy. There's no ringing, I don't have to worry about it, I get to just play it. The 9 is maybe less helpful, trying to hit a note maybe in second position, especially if you're a blues player, but it's still cool for inflection. And I would use that the same way I do a single reed bend there for the most part. And then 10, you get the same note as if you perform a bend on 6 draw. So that's really cool in third position, like on a turnaround. Sorry, I got a habit of clogging up my harps this week, evidently. And I would say that in terms of being able to hit a note and make it really useful and still sound okay, the 10 draw bend I play now is something I enjoy more than if I play the 9 overdraw to get that same note. And that's the other thing you have to remember too, is that this is like half valve bending more than it is overblowing and overdrawing. So your note layout's definitely going to change. I'm going to turn down my volume here. And so I would highly encourage people to check this out as they become available. Out of the box, I was not impressed with the harmonicas as I got them. They all needed some work, at least on the sympathetic reeds. And you do get a very breathy and airy harmonica on holes 1 through 3 out of the box. And the only way to really fix that is to regap those sympathetic reeds, regap the reeds for like 3 draw and 3 blow for your playing style, and then you really have to make those reed slots airtight. And I would still argue that taping them down, like Richard Slay suggests, is maybe even a better approach, and then maybe leave the valves on there to do some typical half valve bending there. On holes 4 through 10, the C and the A that I got and the other ones I've tried to play have been very workable, very easy to fix, and I think you should expect to adjust the sympathetic reeds for your style. But I would argue, whatever the harmonica and whatever the price point, that the gapping ultimately comes down to the player, and that there's only so much you can do having that done at the factory. And different player styles, different approaches to refine that shouldn't put you off. That should be something you know how to do anyway. And really, that D harmonica, I'm confident that will be good with some work, but I was surprised on how that one, the couple of Ds I've tried, how much different that plays than the C and the A. And I think that is an issue more than just the basic gapping, and I think you'd have to do some other things to really get that to play better. But I wouldn't hesitate to play the C in front of people in a band context at all. The A was awesome. I was wanting so much to use that for a video, but like I said, I mangle the reed and then lose a note that's very important to a demonstration and stuff. But if you A-B even a tweaked out sub 30 to a Marine band, for example, the Marine band's definitely going to be louder, and it's much easier to get clarity and punch and presence from that. The sub 30 is always going to be just a little quieter, a little mellower, a little warmer, which I think sounds great for acoustic playing. For amp playing, I tend to like brighter harmonicas, so that's why I would go after different cover plates and definitely doing some modification that would make a brighter sounding harmonica and more articulate. Minus a custom comb of some sort, this thing is a very solid harmonica, very worth the money, especially if you understand the logistics of valve bending, and especially if you're okay tweaking your harmonica. And again, I think even if you get one from a customizer, lots of times there has to be conversation about tweaking things here and there, because we all attack it, we all approach it a little bit different. The next time I do anything with this harmonica, I promise to do much less talking and much more playing. But hopefully this is of some insight. And if you have any questions or comments regarding the harmonica, feel free to post those right on YouTube, and we can hash that out there so other people can have access to that shared information too. Thank you.